Today on Monkey Life, an anxious time when chimp Tutti's tooth comes out.
This is a rotten, infected tooth that's crumbling.
Concerns for woolly monkey Bueno as his health deteriorates.
We've also noticed that his breathing is getting a bit worse.
And Marmoset James meets Mad Max.
Max has gone okay for a few minutes with other individuals and then deteriorated and started getting aggressive and chasing them.
Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate neglected and abused primates from all over the world.
Really pleased he's made the journey really well.
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes from 18 different species, and the aim is to give them as natural a life as possible. The newest chimp group at the park is Hananyas. There are 19 members from all around the globe. Hananya became the dominant male in 2004 when he was still quite young. But since then, he's grown into a kind leader who still isn't above playing with the other guys. One member of the group is in need of some medical attention.
Open.
Tutti has a problem with her teeth.
She's got a chipped incisor. It's incisor 2 at the top on the right side. Actually quite difficult to see. Tutti does a very nice open mouth presentation, but that incisor's sitting slightly back. There's a gap. But we're happy that the veterinary staff have had a good look at it and they do think it needs to come out. Shoulder.
All the chimps at the park get clicker training to help with basic health checks. They get a reward in return for a specific behaviour, and the click reinforces it. But they've stepped up Tutti's in the last few days.
Good girl, wait. Good girl. We've done some preparatory work with Tutti, and she has taken some injections during training session leading up to the event. So we're pretty confident, as long as she doesn't get suspicious that things are different, that she'll cooperate. Good girl.
The clicker training practice also means primate care staff get a chance to examine the chimps closely every day.
She's not doing anything behaviourally that's indicating that there's a problem. So it's really the really thorough health checking that the staff are doing that have alerted a potential problem.
Tutti came to the park from Saudi Arabia. She was a victim of the illegal pet trade and had been stolen from the wild as a baby. After she was confiscated by the Saudi authorities, she was cared for by a British vet in Jeddah before being flown to the UK to find a home at Monkey World in 2002. She settled in well, and Tutti's now a much-loved member of the group. Today, the team have brought in specialist wildlife vet John Lewis to perform the operation on her tooth. He prepares the anaesthetic, but it will be Cara who administers it.
She's not the best in the group, yeah, OK. She'd be in the OK region, but we've been to preparing her and she's been pretty good.
Time to see if all that training pays off.
Ready to do you as soon as she's had it?
Yes, George.
It's important to follow the daily routine so as not to alarm her. As usual, Hananya's in first.
Good boy, Hananya. Ooh, Tutti.
And Tutti doesn't hesitate.
Good girl.
She has some of the anaesthetic, but not enough to do the job.
Wait, Tutti.
The operation can't go ahead until Tutti is fully unconscious.
OK, she's done. Good girl, Tutti. John and Tracy, she's had that. She had it in 2 lots, but I'm pretty confident she had the whole thing, and now it's just a case of waiting and seeing if she goes to sleep.
John has kept out of the way so as not to distress Tutti.
I'm the vet. No chimp here likes being interfered with by the vet. which isn't a trivial comment, because if I turn up and an animal really doesn't like me or is scared that something is going to happen as a result of me being there, that makes them more anxious. If you're more anxious, now we get into the chemistry of it, the adrenaline levels rise a little bit. They get excited. If they get excited and the adrenaline levels are rising, that sensitizes the heart to some of the adverse effects of anaesthetics.
As soon as John gets the signal that Tutti has fallen asleep, he can check to make sure she's stable and breathing well.
No, let's move her on the stretcher, and I think in the moving we'll find out if she's too light. I mean, she's not responding to ear pinching, but...
Once he's sure that light anaesthetic is working, he can start the extraction. At Bueno's woolly monkey enclosure, their leader is relaxing while the rest of his family get on with their day, knowing they're safe and sound in his care.
Bueno is a favourite for everybody, really, because he is so lovely with his group. He's a nice, calm male. He's not aggressive in any way, so everyone does have a bit of a soft spot for him. I've worked with him for 2 years, and he is this kind of monkey that is always a little bit off in the distance, but that's actually quite nice because he's just leading his group as a dominant male should, and we all love him for that.
The group loves spending time together. But recently, Bueno has struggled with his health, and when he was examined 9 months ago, the X-rays revealed a major problem.
His heart is hugely enlarged. Now that can be damage to heart muscle, it could even be a secondary enlargement because he's been chronically anemic.
He was diagnosed with a terminal heart condition.
We do have Bueno on medication, which is actually taken really well morning and evening.
But the prognosis isn't good. To everyone's dismay, Bueno has lost weight and he's becoming lethargic, a far cry from his usual self.
We've also noticed that his breathing is getting a bit worse because obviously there's something in his chest, so that may be affecting his lungs.
The team fear that Bueno may not be around to look after his troop for very much longer, and that will have a devastating effect on all of them.
A dominant male is so important to every group of woolly monkeys. The dominant male is the protector of the group. They feel safe when they're around the dominant male because he is much larger, he's muscly, he's stronger. It's also his job to try and keep the peace in the group. So if the females have had an argument, the youngsters have been a bit naughty, it's his job to come over and just try and make the whole group run smoothly and feel safe.
The staff are giving him special care so that he can make the most of his time he has left with his family. Whilst the rest of the gang are distracted with yoghurt pots, Bueno's getting a favourite delicacy.
We're just feeding Bueno some extras. He has lost weight over the last 3 weeks, so we just want to supplement his normal group feeds with some extra nice tasty treats, more high-calorie treats. He just loves bananas, so we give him some more bananas each day. He's also getting things like cereals and baby rice, baby porridge, and he does really like bread as well, so we're giving him a few different things throughout the day just to try and keep him a bit happier and give him some nice treats.
For now, Bueno is quite comfortable, and they're doing all they can to make his remaining days as contented as they can be. At the Marmoset house, the team are about to introduce James to Mad Max.
New Marmoset.
James arrived 8 days ago after being rescued from a pet shop in Canterbury where his only neighbours were predators. And Max has been living on his own since his beloved companion Betty Boo passed away. Betty Boo was the only other marmoset he's ever tolerated in his space.
Max is just very unpredictable. We've had lots of issues with him in the past. He just sort of doesn't really know what to do socially.
Max hasn't been easy to please. They've tried him with 12 other marmosets at the park, and they're hoping James won't be unlucky 13. The two boys have been kept in adjoining bedrooms, but they've always had a solid wall between them, until now. Sociable James shows no hesitation in leaving his room. But Max is more cautious, eyeing up the latest arrival. It's a tense moment, but James isn't put off. And it soon calms down. Alison's been on hand throughout to monitor the meeting.
So far, we're going really well. I mean, I'm always reluctant to say anything because, you know, Max has gone okay for a few minutes with other individuals and then deteriorated and started getting aggressive and chasing them. But so far, James has been really good in terms of ignoring Max. And other than Max giving James a little warning when James first walked up to him, there's been no negative behavior at all. I'm really hopeful because these two boys need friends, and this would be a good opportunity for them if they can keep their tempers under control.
Nine months ago, Bueno was found to have a terminal heart complaint, and his health has been going downhill ever since. He's had the best of medical attention. But despite a brave fight, he's lost more weight and is struggling to catch his breath. It's kinder to put him to sleep peacefully than to let him keep deteriorating. It's a sad day for the team, and the other woolly monkeys have lost the leader of their group.
We've heard a few little contact calls go out as if they're trying to see if they can find out where he's gone to. Obviously, the response isn't there.
Since Bueno arrived at the park in 2005, he's made lots of friends and been a great dad.
Bueno was just brilliant. He just doted on his babies. He just loved having them around.
Bueno has 3 youngsters at the park: Julio, Enzo and Ava, as well as his adopted son, Paolo. For an endangered species with declining numbers, that's a big contribution to the breeding programme, as well as his own family. His oldest will soon be ready to follow in his father's footsteps.
Julio's almost 7 now, so he's almost a big adult boy. He's starting to get the look of Bueno now, actually. He's starting to get all these nice long chest hair so that he'll look nice and impressive. And he's got the big muscles under his chin and forming all around his head. He's very muscular across his back and his shoulders already. So basically, that is Bueno's legacy, the fact that his son is now going to go on and hopefully become a dad himself in the near future if he becomes a dominant male in his own right.
At Hananya's chimpanzee house, Tutti is now under anaesthetic, all set to have a broken front tooth extracted.
No breaks? Oh dear. Pulse ox.
Even though it's a short operation, any anaesthetic can be risky. So they need to monitor her vital signs and make sure she's breathing properly.
Find a toe or... I mean, this is a rotten, infected tooth that's crumbling through decay.
The troublesome tooth is soon dealt with.
They're good. They're very good. It's funny how she broke just the one here.
The small amount of anaesthetic she's been given means she needs to be given gas to keep her unconscious.
Depending on the anaesthetic, you wouldn't necessarily have to do this, but because we want a quick recovery, A, we're keeping her light, and B, we're keeping her very reversible. Along with that comes the potential for her to wake up suddenly, so there's a little bit more messing about, but you'll get a quicker recovery.
It's gone well. Tutti is given an injection to reverse the anaesthetic.
Okay.
And she's left in her bedroom to come round in her own time. They can't relax until they know Tutti has woken up. Tutti's not the only one with dental problems. At the Orang nursery, someone's left a present for the tooth fairy. All the youngsters are trained to show their teeth in return for a reward. So when they all line up for Alison and Jarno to inspect, it doesn't take long to identify the orang with the missing incisor.
There. Wow, good girl.
Oh, good girl. This is the tooth that Jolie lost this morning, and you can just see by the size and shape of it, it's got almost no root at all, the height of it. It's very short and shallow. So they just sort of sit in the top of the gum line, the baby tooth, because babies are eating soft foods and milk and don't really need strong, robust teeth. So as they grow up and develop and the adult teeth drop down, it's very easy for these baby teeth to just be pushed right out.
8-year-old Jolie doesn't seem the least bit bothered by her gappy grin, although she knows something is different.
As any parent will know, losing a tooth really is not that big of a deal. It's a natural course of events. It's a baby tooth, so the roots aren't very deep. But right now, the hole is actually still bloody. It's only recently just fallen out. So she's doing a lot of this, just keeping the air off of it, because anybody, if you remember, when you lose a tooth, as you breathe in, the air going over the socket gives you a little bit of a sharp sensation.
Do you feel the big teeth?
There it is.
In the nursery, losing teeth is just a natural part of growing up. But whilst Jolie's untroubled by her missing tooth, her older friend Hsiao-Ning isn't so happy with what's happening to her mouth.
Morning, guys. What a pretty girl. First I thought, okay, so is she just come up with a new play face, whether it's blowing raspberries or pulling silly faces? And then I noticed those canine teeth have just come through, the tips of them, and the base of those teeth are really broad and wide. So as they push through the gum line, it is sort of quite sore and a little bit angry, and it just feels awkward.
So Hsiao-Ning's funny faces aren't any laughing matter.
That pulling the lip back is just exposing those canine teeth, getting some cooler air onto the gum surface, and also just sort of checking out what these new things are in her face.
Hsiao-Ning returned to the nursery when she didn't settle with Gordon's adult group. But at 9 years old, her teeth show that she's no longer a baby.
Large adult orangutans can give a very serious, dangerous bite, and those teeth are just very big, strong teeth. So right now, Hsiao-Ning's looking particularly odd because she's got this cartoon face that she's pulling with her two big, huge teeth, and then the canines coming in and pulling her lips back over it all just makes her look very silly and very funny. At the same time, she's had such a lovely new lease of life coming back into the nursery. She's also hanging upside down like a bat, with the lips pulled back and the teeth sticking out. So right now she's just a very oddball character, but we love her for it. "14 months ago, Alison was called in by Merseyside police to help rescue Solomon, a 10-week-old marmoset living in a tiny hamster cage. Today, and I'll look after him. He was confiscated from the home of a pet shop owner who'd been trying to sell him on. Good boy. Once at the park, he was introduced to Gabby, and he immediately grabbed hold of her and wouldn't let go. Gabby has been his foster mum ever since. Yeah. And today, Solomon has a special visitor.
Is that the little man now?
Rachel Kruger is the wildlife crime officer with Merseyside Police, and she's travelled down with her colleague to see how the tiny primate she helped rescue is getting on.
See now, what a beautiful environment for them.
Yeah, no, they do really well out here. And I'll show you if you just go along here. They run along this tunnel, which actually took him quite a while to... Yeah, that's him. Good little man. Big now, hey?
He's huge.
Solomon's grown into a handsome young chap.
It's a world apart from a hamster cage in a shop counter.
Yeah. He's getting, fresh air. He can catch his own insects. He gets daylight. We're giving him D3. All of the things he needs, mainly companionship of his own kind. So, really good. Pleased we can do it.
The pet shop owner in this case was prosecuted on cruelty charges.
In essence, out of 8 charges, he pleaded guilty to 4 of them. And he was sentenced on those 4. So it was a good result.
Solomon was lucky that he came to the attention of Rachel and Alison.
Sadly, there are so many marmosets that I can't even take all of them that we're asked to take. It's only certain individuals. I knew we could sort him because he was so little. But sadly, there are many that we have to turn away and that have to spend their days in bird cages and sitting rooms.
It's the end of the day at the park. Tutti is back with her group after her tooth operation. The surgery went well, but she's looking a bit sorry for herself. Whilst Valerie and the rest of the gang are busy making their beds for the night, Tutti's still not quite up to joining in. Just like Valerie, Tutti's usually very particular about where her bedding should be for a comfy night's sleep. But it's been a difficult day for her. And Evelyn's too busy with her own blanket to worry about Tutti. Everyone's in need of a good night's rest. Maybe it'll all feel better in the morning. Next time on Monkey Life, drama at the hospital with Marmoset James.
Whoa, have you seen these lungs? What the hell's going on in his chest?
And a life-changing decision at the orang nursery.
One of the first times ever that we've sent an orangutan away from the park, and we've actually found a really good home for Hsiao-Ning.
This time on Monkey Life, drama at the hospital with Marmoset James.
Whoa, have you seen these lungs? What the hell's going on in his chest?
It's factor 15 for the stumpies.
Yeah, I know. I'm horrible, aren't I?
And a life-changing decision at the orang nursery.
One of the first times ever that we've sent an orangutan away from the park.
Monkey World, tucked deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
She's up and alert and she looks brilliant, so fantastic job done by everybody.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes, and the aim is to give them as natural a life as possible. It's a glorious summer's day at the park, and all the primates are chilling out in the sunshine. Except for the nursery orangs, who are waiting indoors while James prepares a special summer delight for everyone. Most of the orangutans in the nursery are under 8 years old. They'll stay here until they mature, but one day they will all move on to join an adult group. Until then, life is undemanding, without too much pressure from grown-ups.
Just got some coloured balls filled up with different various fruit juices and stuff, and we've put that in the freezer overnight so it's nice and frozen, just to give them a bit of enrichment, because the weather for once this year is actually really, really nice weather. It's supposed to be really hot today, so they should enjoy a bit of refreshment from these first thing this morning.
The iced balls are being hung up all around the enclosure, just to give all the group a sporting chance to get their own. Better still, big girl O'Sheen is being kept back for a while.
When it does come to nice treats, O'Sheen does tend to hoard a lot of the food. The kids do tend to keep their distance, stay away from her quite a lot, and she'll just grab as much as she can and go and sit in a corner with it. So yeah, we try and limit that as much as possible. It's like Funhouse, isn't it? OK, we're all set.
A As soon as the doors open, the youngsters rush out to get their treats, led by Dinda, with curious Linga hot on her heels. Hsiao-Ning's in a tearing hurry to grab an icy delicacy. Jolie tries a more studied approach, without much luck. They're having to work to find the fruity ices.
A lot of them are fake ones, so they really have to go through all of the balls to get the right ones, to get the treats inside. So they're all concentrating out there at the moment, as you can see, and generally just enjoying themselves.
Jolie's finally bagged herself a treat. And it looks like Kai's taken a leaf out of Hsiao-Ning's book, making a complete pig of himself. Finally, Hsiao-Ning makes an entrance with her sidekick Sylvester. And they soon make up for lost time. Sylvester's not going to be fooled by the duds. And when Hsiao-Ning grabs a strawberry flavour, she's in seventh heaven. When Kai first moved into the nursery earlier this year, Hsiao-Ning was very wary of him. But since then, they've become the best of pals.
Kai's brought Hsiao-Ning out of her shell completely since he arrived in the nursery. They just spend quite a lot of the days playing together now.
With her newfound confidence and trimmer figure, she's even trying a few acrobatics.
We're seeing Hsiao-Ning actually hanging upside down by her feet, and those play sessions will continue to lose that weight off of her, so he's done immensely well for Hsiao-Ning.
The ice hunt keeps the troop active and amused for hours.
It's a big mess to clean up later on, but all the better for it, because I know that these guys have all had plenty of fun throughout the day.
But the group are unaware of a massive change about to occur for one of the family. Hsiao-Ning has reached an age where she should move out of the nursery into an adult group. And for the last year, the team have been trying to integrate her, but it's been a struggle.
Here at the park, our adult groups are big, and they're full of formidable, grown-up adult ladies and men who have very serious opinion. It's not an easy place in those two adult groups. So Hsiao-Ning having a quiet, young, small group is her best future, and so that's what we're going to do for her.
As part of the European Endangered Species breeding program, Hsiao-Ning is moving to a new centre in Rostock, Germany, where they have a young male orang waiting for a mate. But it'll be a big step for her and a huge wrench for the team.
One of the first times ever that we've sent an orangutan away from the park, and we've actually found a really good home for Hsiao-Ning in a place that can offer more than we can at present. So that's a very young and small group of her own. So she'll be with a young male her own age and with one other female her own age, and that's it.
Since she was born at the park 9 years ago, Hsiao-Ning's endeared herself to everyone who knows her, and it'll be hard to say goodbye.
I'm going to be really, really sad to lose Hsiao-Ning. I mean, she is a real personality and a great character in this group, and worked with her for quite a few years now. But all the same, she'll be a lot happier when she does finally meet the other guys over in Germany.
It is sort of like the kid leaving home for the first time. It's really sad and emotional, but I'm sort of excited and pleased for her because I think she's going to have a really good opportunity.
At the Marmoset house, new arrival James is being secured in his nesting box by Jeremy and the team. He needs to be transported to the park's hospital for medical investigations. Like most of the rescued marmosets, James came to the park with no health records. But over the last few weeks, care staff have noticed he has a problem whenever he eats a meal.
He vomits up everything he eats to a certain degree. So even if it's banana, we've even seen him bounce water. So he'll be eating happy, very well, feeling good in himself, eating, eating, eating. And then up comes regurgitated food, which he often eats back down again and continues on.
They need to find out what's causing the trouble.
Is there a blockage somewhere down his esophagus where the food sort of hits and then comes back up? Is it a behavioral thing that he's always sort of regurgitated his food? Doesn't really look like that to me, but basically, we don't know.
Today, specialist wildlife vet John Lewis is at the park to try and get some answers.
We just need to eliminate certain things. We'll x-ray him, we'll run a blood profile, and I'll have a look with a small modified endoscope into his stomach. So there's always the possibility he's got a lump stuck in his stomach, in which case we'll try and remove it.
It's a straightforward procedure, but James will need an anaesthetic, and that's a risk for all primates. With male common marmosets weighing less than 500 grams, any operation is even more difficult.
We're going to give him an injectable anaesthetic so that he doesn't need to be connected to the gas. We'll have the gas ready just in case, and see how far we get. It's going to be a fiddle.
Jeremy is monitoring James, and suddenly there's a problem.
He's not breathing, John. John, he's not breathing.
It's a life and death situation for James. John can hear a heartbeat, but James is not breathing for himself. John begins gentle chest compressions. They must be hard enough to get air into his lungs, but with such a tiny primate, he could easily break the ribs.
Right now, it's just very stressful and terrifying because we've gone to extra lengths to try and sort out James and his welfare, and you know, he's actually sorted out with Max now, and now we've got serious problems. And I hope we're going to be able to A, solve his medical condition, because he clearly has something the matter, and B, that he's even going to make it through this procedure right now, because quite frankly, it's a bit ropey.
At the park's hospital, it's a life-threatening situation for Marmoset James. He's reacted badly to anaesthetic and has stopped breathing for himself. The team can only watch anxiously as John works on him.
Right now we're having to breathe for him. We'll get him back to baseline, and then John will continue on with just gas and air, which is much safer.
By reversing the anaesthetic, John is hoping James's condition will improve.
He's quite stiff. Oh, 103.
I mean, he's fine. We just need to get him absolutely stable.
There's a sigh of relief as James starts breathing for himself. Now John needs to work quickly to get to the bottom of James's eating problem. A blood sample will be sent off for analysis.
Yes, he seems to have a very large loop of bowel there.
But the physical check of James's abdomen is inconclusive, so John decides to x-ray. And the result is alarming.
Whoa, have you seen these lungs? What the hell's going on in his chest?
The x-rays have shocked John.
The edge of the heart is rather irregular, and if you look, there's very little dark tissue where there ought to be normal lung, but there's a lot of this irregular, fluffy stuff. And these pale, irregular areas are all abnormal. They shouldn't be there. But I just want someone who knows a lot more about x-rays to give me their comment on that.
John now needs to get a good look at James's throat and stomach.
SpO2's gone right down to 83, but whether that's...
Ideally, the endoscope should be flexible. In other words, you can guide it around corners and turn it into different little squiddly bits of the anatomy of the animal. This one's rigid, it's straight. So you have to line everything up. It'll only go in one direction. I'm looking at the esophagus. So we're just trying to gently push it down the esophagus to get into the stomach without causing any damage.
James's persistent vomiting seems to have caused some harm.
The top of the ventral floor of the pharynx is quite red. Certainly the upper part of the esophagus is inflamed. Now, he's vomiting a lot, and if you bring up a lot of gastric acid, the acid itself inflames the esophagus. So that's not good or comfortable. There are also little white spots on the surface of the esophagus at the top, and that could be a fungal infection. So we've taken some samples to see if that's the case or not.
It's vital they find out what's causing the trouble.
I want the bacteriology results, I want the blood results, and I want to actually discuss the X-ray with people who are more experienced with X-rays. I don't claim to be an expert radiologist, but I'd welcome their opinions.
Hello, young man. Hello. He's a good boy.
James is waking up, but the team will have to wait for a diagnosis.
Sometimes you don't get all your answers in one go, and sometimes you have to take it step by logical step. And as long as we don't miss anything on the way, we'll eventually get to the result.
At the Stumpy house, care staff are preparing the way for a special scatter feed for the park's stump-tailed macaques.
We've got lots of browse here and it's all got like lots of nice buds and stuff on the end of it. So hopefully this will give them a little bit of enrichment so that they can chew on the end of it and have fun foraging through it as well.
High rankers Sam and Miriam watch on as food is sprinkled through the branches.
They're really good foragers, so any small things that we can give them to get them foraging around in the bits and pieces is really good for them. So I'm just trying to get this within the middle of the browse, so they really have to get in there.
In the wild, stump-tailed macaques are primarily fruit eaters, although they do also feed on seeds, leaves and roots. They originate from the tropical forests of China and Southeast Asia, where they spend most of their time on the ground, often travelling along the banks of rivers and occasionally feeding in trees. Miriam is first off the mark for the scatter feed today, with dominant male Sam close behind her.
You normally see them like shoving food in really, really fast. They're not eating all this food at that speed. Basically, they've got really big cheek pouches on either side of their face, and they can store a whole load of food in these pouches. You can normally see the pouches grow in size as they put more and more in it. And then that means that they can go off, sit down nice and quietly and calmly, and gradually eat the food that they've got in their pouches over a period of time.
Charlie's using her cheek pouches to the full. And Jonathan is making the most of the lower branches.
He's kind of got stuck in and is chewing on all the buds on the end of the browse, which is really great to see. That's exactly what we wanted them to do. He's actually played it quite sensible and is just quietly munching away on all the buds, which the others obviously haven't noticed yet.
But Phil and Paddy are at the bottom of the pecking order and are waiting their turn outside.
Hopefully, once the dominant guys have kind of explored everything, had a good look, these low-ranking guys will eventually come in, and we're going to leave it in here for quite a while, so they will have plenty of time to come in and explore, and when it's quietened down, that'll be the time that they should come in and have a look.
All the park's stumpies were rescued from British laboratories. 19 primates arrived in 2000 after being used for medical research into asthma.
Roland. Hi, Roland.
And in 2010, 10 more came from a lab in Scotland, where the oldest had been living for 20 years. Some had been kept alone in small cages, with little chance to move around freely, so they were grossly overweight and many had mobility problems. Many of their coats were in poor condition, with bald patches on some of them that still haven't regrown. And that's a real problem now they're able to sit outside in the sunshine.
Jonathan, Paddy! Look, do you want some grapes?
Hannah's keen to get them close to the fence, but not just for the food.
Paddy's coming over, so fingers crossed. Good boy.
She's not spraying the stumpies to cool them down.
We put suntan lotion on them because the lower ranking guys, especially Phil, Paddy and Jonathan, have got bald patches on them. With the sun being so hot and very bright today, there is a real possibility that they could get burnt, and we really don't want that. Sunburn's horrible when you have it. It's really uncomfortable, and they're grumpy enough already, to be honest. They don't need any more reasons to be any more bad-tempered.
But Paddy doesn't always know what's good for him. Alison and the team have made the momentous decision to allow Hsiao-Ning to travel out to live in a zoo in Germany. The move will help the European breeding programme, but it could be a frightening experience for her, so they're doing all they can to make it easier.
We're doing training sessions daily to try and get her used to the box, so that when we have to take her on the long drive to Germany, she'll be used to being in here and it'll be her home for those long hours.
To minimise stress for Hsiao-Ning, the whole group takes part in crate training. It's no problem for most of them, and confident Linga's eager to get started. But Hsiao-Ning's holding back.
Hsiao-Ning is a little bit different to the other orangutans, doesn't like change very much, just takes things a little longer to get associated with anything new. So yeah, she's a sensitive little thing.
Whilst Kai, Linga and Jolie go straight into the crate, Hsiao-Ning heads off up the tunnel in the opposite direction.
You gonna come and take an interest in the box?
Not on your life, but Jolie has no such qualms.
I think even if Hsiao-Ning just watches the others going in and out, I think that's something she can learn from. She can see that it's not that bad and that they're not going to be stuck in there and trapped in there for a long period of time.
She will eventually have to go in on her own, but it's going to be a slow process.
You can see she's standing to the back and she's just looking ahead. She wants to come, but it just takes her a bit longer than the others. She's less brave.
Lingaloo, come here.
Lewis's box of treats tempt her a bit nearer to the crate.
Good girl, Hsiao-Ning. Right, we're going to push you just a little bit more. We're going to just move over here.
And every step closer earns a click and a reward.
Good girl.
But that's as far as she's prepared to go today.
It doesn't matter that Hsiao-Ning hasn't come into the crate today. She has made progress by coming up to the tunnel, so she's getting there. We've got a decent amount of time to work on this. So, obviously she's not quite as keen as everybody else.
With a month to go, she's still got plenty of time to get it right. Next time on Monkey Life, a new leader for the woolly monkeys.
He's a big, beautiful male woolly monkey, and all of the ladies should love him.
And as one arrives, the park says goodbye to an old favourite.
Safe journey, guys. Let me know how you get on.
Today on Monkey Life, Hsiao-Ning's last day at the park.
In the next half hour, she's heading out to Germany to start a new life with 2 others.
It's all change for the capuchins.
We're halfway through moving Amy's group, so we've done 8, got 8 to go.
And a new leader for the woolly monkeys.
Chippy's a big, beautiful male woolly monkey, and all of the ladies should love him.
Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate neglected and abused primates from all over the world.
Just with a hacksaw, I could take 3 of these bars out and pull her out.
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes from 18 different species. And the aim is to give them all a safe home and a secure future. At the Orang nursery, Jolie, Kai and Linga are play wrestling in the sunshine. Whilst Kai ponders his next move, Linga takes advantage and nabs the comfiest cushion in the park. They're all blissfully unaware that change is in the air. The difficult decision has been made for 9-year-old orangutan Hsiao-Ning to travel out to live in a zoo in Germany, where she can be in a small group of young adults, which isn't possible at Monkey World. But Hsiao-Ning's always been reluctant to try anything new.
Anytime we've reached developmental stages in her life, she's always just put up a huge fight and a huge resistance and acted like the world's coming to an end, even when it's been nice things. So when we built this new fabulous building, which is really lovely, and they all love it in there, and the first day that we moved her across, how dare you? How dare you make me move from the small, tiny building into the big, lovely, bright, fresh air building? And it's just silly.
For the last month, she's been undergoing crate training in preparation for the long road journey to Rostock, Germany.
You're going to come and take an interest in the box?
To start with, Hsiao-Ning was having none of it, but eventually she realised there was nothing to be frightened of.
Hi, baby.
Click when she gets in.
Now, Missy.
Good girl, Hsiao-Ning. Wow, she's doing really well.
Yummy. Yum, 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 yum. Any more?
Well, with Hsiao-Ning's crate training, she's made a amazing improvement. We've now got her to the stage where she'll spend, 10 minutes easily sitting in the crate taking food from the window. She's allowing someone else to stand here, which is going to be ideal for when we need to shut the slide on the actual day. So we couldn't have hoped for anything better. She's been amazing.
It'll be a very strange experience for her, and she's unlikely to take this new move in her stride. But Hsiao-Ning won't be without friends on the journey.
Baby.
Jeremy and Lewis will be travelling with her.
And you have to think that she's gonna be stuck in a van, in a box, and surely she's gonna be scared. And we are gonna be there to just give her a bit of comfort and to, let her know that everything is gonna be okay.
Lewis has looked after Hsiao-Ning since she moved back into the nursery.
I'm there with her. Hopefully she'll feel comfortable enough. It's just hope for the best.
So far, Hsiao-Ning's been able to go in and out of the crate as she likes.
Good girl, Hsiao-Ning. Yay! The only thing we haven't done is shut the slide behind her, and it's not something we're actually going to do until the day that we move Hsiao-Ning.
They don't want to risk spooking her.
Good girl, baby.
I think we've done as much as we can in terms of training Hsiao-Ning, so hopefully it's all going to go very smoothly on the day. Fingers crossed. She's just going to walk in. It's going to be very, very unstressful for her, hopefully.
Hsiao-Ning's not the only one set to move. Monkey World's capuchins are also in for a major upheaval. Most of the park's capuchins were rescued from a lab in Chile in 2008. When they first arrived, they were put into single-sex groups until the staff got to know their individual needs and personalities. It soon became clear that some of the less dominant males might do better in different groups. So 3 of them were introduced to a group of females. That went well, and it set the pattern for the future. When Tao, a victim of the European pet trade, came to the park in very poor condition, he initially did well and put weight on. But the team felt he too would thrive better in a group of females, so 12 months ago he was also moved.
It has to be said, he's doing amazingly well. He's an absolute hit with pretty much all the ladies, and he just seems to thrive on it. He just goes where he pleases, he gets food when he wants, he sits there and he gets groomed all day if that's what he wants doing. So he's really a very different capuchin to the one that we originally moved from the Bachelor group.
In a mixed-sex group, Tao's life is much closer to what it would be in the wild.
It just shows how important it is for these capuchins to live in these natural social groups.
Tao prospered with the ladies, and things have gone so well, the team are aiming at having all mixed-sex groups. And today is another step along the way.
Well, down here at the bottom of the park, we have Amy's group. It's an all-girl group of 16. It's a very solid group with a strong leader. So we're going to move them up to the forest enclosure, and we think they'll make better use of that enclosure than the 9 boys that are in there at the moment.
Those 9 boys are moving into Amy's old house, which is a bit more spacious for the big guys. And that's not all.
Thirdly, we're going to create a little geriatric group at the cage in the forest. So they'll have some girls next door, which hopefully will, you know, produce some interesting behaviours.
They need this group because amongst the males, young Winslow has been making a leadership bid and has attacked an injured old leader, Gorillan. It's just not safe to keep them together any longer. So they've a lot of monkeys to move this morning, starting with getting Amy's girls into the tunnels.
They're used to going out through the tunnel every day in the morning, so as far as she was concerned, it was part of the routine.
There's meticulous planning. Just like a military operation, the girls are soon in their travelling crates and on their way. And the boys are going in the opposite direction.
Great, thank you, Kate.
Yeah, we've moved all of the boys from the lodge down to the bottom now. They went quite smoothly, so they're all in the bedrooms. We're halfway through moving Amy's group, so we've done 8, got 8 to go. So, yeah, it's going pretty well, so we're quite happy.
Becky, Frida and Elvira are the last ones to go.
13 down, 3 to go, and obviously all 9 boys are safely already down here.
Finally, everyone's in the right place, including Jeremy. They'll be given time to settle down before the boys meet up with the girls. But the initial stage has gone well. Woolly monkey Bueno recently passed away after suffering from a heart condition. Since then, his family has been without a leader. Because the dominant male plays such a significant role in the group, they need to find another boss quickly, or the security and well-being of them all could be in danger. They can't let the oldest boy in there step into Bueno's shoes.
Paolo's quite closely related to quite a few of the individuals within the group, so he's not the appropriate one to let just come on and take over the group. And if we leave him, he's at just the right age where if we leave him for too long, he's going to become a megalomaniac. He's going to think that he's in charge of that group.
So the search has been on to find another suitable father figure to move in and take control of the group. Not easy with just a handful of woolly monkeys left in captivity. But there's been some good news. 12-year-old Chippy and his adopted son Bronco are moving in from Rostock Zoo.
I've been told that Chippy is just one of the nicest people in the world, is lovely with females, is lovely with the babies, and with the keepers he's had over his years. But, you know, life's not been straightforward for Chippy. I've gone back through his records now. I know an awful lot about these 2 new guys coming, and this is going to be the 5th different place that Chippy has resided in his lifetime.
Today's the big day.
At the crack of dawn this morning, Sandra headed off down the road to collect Chippy and Bronco. They got them boxed up really quick and easy, and they're already on their way back, so I expect we'll be seeing them in about an hour or so. And then it's fingers crossed that we can settle them in.
The team have been preparing the way for Chippy and Bronco.
Doing a couple things, trying to make sure that the group are relaxed and settled in the absence of Bueno. They've already had a big change in their life. Having said that, it's not dissimilar to what would happen in the wild. If an individual passes away or even becomes that unwell, they often just leave the group and they're gone from one day to the next. So primate care staff have been filling the house full of all kinds of browse and different objects and insects and bottles stuffed full of insects and different things, just to keep them busy and occupied until we can get Chippy and Bronco settled into the house.
Everything's in place for the new boss, but he still has to win the acceptance of the group. At Monkey World, everyone's keen to meet the 2 new woolies who are about to arrive. They're coming from Warwickshire, and Chippy's got a bit of a reputation.
When I was talking to the other zoos and wildlife parks in Europe that hold woolly monkeys, everybody was envious that Chippy was coming here. He's a big, beautiful male woolly monkey, and all of the ladies should love him. Yeah, careful, it's quite heavy.
You're all right. Yeah, they weighed them this morning.
So far, so good. They don't seem too troubled by the 4-hour journey. Chippy and Bronco will spend tonight in a bedroom of their own to allow them to get used to their new home. Then they'll be introduced to the others. Chippy's first out of the box, and he's not sounding too pleased about what's going on.
Good boy.
Sandra's doing her best to reassure him with some grapes.
There we go.
Adolescent Bronco takes a dash around the room. He's never moved home before, so it's a nerve-wracking experience for him.
Everybody's a bit nervous. You might even be able to hear them sort of alarm calling, which sounds like a really high-pitched chirping noise. But yeah, you can hear that. That's Chippy alarm calling. Already we've learned an awful lot about them because we were told that Bronco doesn't make any noise. Well, he's very chatty, no problem. Chippy's falling over, snuffling hello to everybody.
But it's all very strange for them, and they need time to adjust to their new surroundings. At the other end of the house, their new family is listening and weighing up the new boys.
I've asked everybody to clear out of the house just to calm it down and to let them relax.
Chippy and Bronco have got the rest of the day to relax before they're introduced to their new family. At the orangutan nursery, months of careful planning are coming to fruition, and the final preparations are being put in place for Hsiao-Ning's great move.
Hsiao-Ning doesn't realize it, but over the past week or so, she's been trained to go into her traveling box, and in the next half hour, we're boxing her up, and she's heading out to Germany to start a new life with 2 others.
Hsiao-Ning will be living in a new ape complex with 2 more orangutans the same age as her, and there's one young man they're hoping she'll take to.
This male will not be intimidating like Gordon or like Tuan. He's going to be more like Kai, and she likes Kai.
But before all that, there's an 800-mile journey ahead of her, and for an orangutan, that means a travelling crate. Everyone bar Kate and Lewis leave, so it's like a normal crate training day.
You guys all ready to go as and when?
But Hsiao-Ning can be unpredictable, and there's no telling if she'll go into the crate voluntarily. To everyone's relief, she makes her way straight in, and today, there's no going back.
Good girl.
Good girl, Hsiao-Ning.
Sounded right. These guys have done an absolutely brilliant job because tricking an orangutan to catching them out in the box is not an easy task, not any time. But it just goes to show that the training and the practice of getting her used to the box, no squeaking, no complaining, no banging. She's okay in the box and she knows it's safe and sound, which makes me just feel a whole lot more relaxed because I don't want her upset the whole way to Germany.
They make sure the box is secure before they move it. This is the first time an orangutan has had to leave the park, and now Alison and the team must say their goodbyes.
It would be selfish for us just to keep her here because we love her. It's time for her to have a group of her own and to graduate from being just around the babies. So it's a good thing, but of course, yeah, terribly sort of upset and worried for her.
Hsiao-Ning is travelling in the same crate that brought her father Tuan to the park from Taiwan over 10 years ago. The forklift truck makes light work of loading 35-kilo Hsiao-Ning and her heavy box into the van.
It's all gone really quite smoothly. She went into the box nicely, shifted her over. She's testing out the box, but not freaking out, and we'll just get her secured in and then get Jeremy and Lewis on their way. Good girl.
With any luck, Hsiao-Ning will sleep for much of the journey.
What's this thing for, George?
She seems content to watch all that's going on around her.
Safe journey, guys.
It's the first leg of their 17-hour journey. The capuchins are all settling into their new houses after the big swap round. Low-ranker Joey's getting used to the newly formed geriatric group.
We had several older males who were originally wild caught, and then we had a lot of the youngsters that were born in the lab. And there were times when the youngsters were just too boisterous for the older boys, and sometimes they'd give them a bit of a rough time. So we've made the decision to keep the old boys up here and let them sort of have like a retirement home, really.
35-year-old Gorillan is the elder statesman of the troop, with 20-somethings Ringo, Marlowe, Boise and Archie making up the oldies gang.
And then we have our younger ones who have social issues elsewhere.
Sean couldn't stay in the same group as new leader Winslow. They've had too many scuffles for comfort. The geriatrics are now housed next door to the females, and it seems to be giving them a new lease of life. Very soon, they'll be formally introduced.
It's quite really nice for us to see, because individuals like Ringo, who has been very difficult to get in over recent months, has come straight in the house and he's just hanging off the mesh, flirting with the girls. Boise, Archie, Marlowe, all these formerly low-ranking males are in the house, trying to look very impressive for the females, sort of showing off, flirting.
The girls seem to be more interested in their pomegranate than the boys' attempts to charm them.
The whole process seems to have gone really, really smoothly today. We've been really pleased with how it's gone, how they've all settled in. And obviously the next big step for them all is when we actually let them outside into their new outside enclosures. And again, we just hope that they take to that as well as they've taken to moving to their new houses.
En route to Rostock Zoo in Germany with Hsiao-Ning, Jeremy and Lewis have another orangutan to collect. Miri's come from Twycross Zoo, accompanied by her keeper, Tanya.
Is it the first time and the last time I'll be formal?
Yes. Hsiao-Ning's been quiet throughout the journey, but this is their first chance to check on her.
She's doing really well. I mean, she's been asleep, I think, the last hour and a half or so, so now it's just confused, I guess. She's just looking around going like, what? Where I am?
Meanwhile, Miri, still in the van next door, is kicking off. She's far from happy at being moved, and Jeremy's quick to point out his orang's virtues.
Get your monkey under control, lady.
Not all the way there.
Yeah. Look.
Well, that's the sweet. She's gonna
Hsiao-Ning sitting in there as sweet as you
I know.
like.
I've just told her that.
Yeah.
Despite all the commotion, Hsiao-Ning remains calm. She's well aware there's a strange orang sharing her van, but so far she's showing no objection. The next stop's the channel crossing. Jeremy and Lewis arrive as night is falling. There's been no major hullabaloo from orangutans Hsiao-Ning and Miri in the back of the van.
I don't think she's as bad as she makes out to be.
Miri's settled down a bit since they picked her up, and to everyone's amazement, Hsiao-Ning's still relaxed and more interested in Jeremy's drink. The familiar faces have kept Hsiao-Ning feeling safe and secure, and all that crate training has paid off.
Would Miri like some strawberries?
She's doing really, really well. She's really, really calm. I think she's been sleeping most of the time when we've been on the road, and now when she's awake. I'm really happy with that. Really, really happy.
Well, you're not, are you? No.
She can just see her noisy neighbour through the crate windows.
You see she's watching now. Also, Mary's being very, very vocal.
In just half an hour, they've reached dry land. If all goes well, they'll be in Rostock by morning.
We're in France, but apart from that, I'm not sure. But according to the sat-nav, we're on the right road.
Next time on Monkey Life, Hsiao-Ning arrives in Rostock, but not all goes according to plan.
It hasn't been a positive introduction because Hsiao-Ning didn't behave nicely.
And it's party time for the boisterous bachelors.
Once they're excited, it goes to levels where you cannot even think. It's so loud.
This time on Monkey Life, Hsiao-Ning arrives in Rostock, but not all goes according to plan.
It hasn't been a positive introduction because Hsiao-Ning didn't behave nicely.
Reluctant Miri gets left on the shelf.
She could sulk all day, all night. Tomorrow, who knows?
And it's party time for the boisterous bachelors. Monkey World, tucked deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate neglected and abused primates from all over the world.
Next stop, Monkey World in Hananya's group, so really pleased she's going to have a family of her own.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes, and the aim is to give them as natural a life as possible. Jeremy and Lewis are making their way from Monkey World in Dorset to Rostock Zoo in Germany. They're travelling 800 miles and making frequent stops along the way to check their precious cargo. On board are orangutan Hsiao-Ning
You're a good girl, aren't you?
and Miri, who's come from Twycross Zoo accompanied by her keeper Tanya. The two primates are about to start a new life in Germany.
It really has been a perfect journey so far. We've had no hitches or disasters or anything.
Rostock is situated on North Germany's Baltic coast. It's a large industrial city with a major port. Since the devastation of the Second World War, its old historic centre has been faithfully rebuilt. There's been a zoo in Rostock for over a century, but thanks to massive investment, there have been huge renovations in recent years. The finishing touches are being put to a brand new purpose-built centre for apes, and this will be Hsiao-Ning and Miri's stylish new home. As part of the European Endangered Species breeding programme, they'll join a young male orangutan to form a new adult group. Sabas is ready to start his own family, and they're hoping he and the girls will take a liking to each other.
We are very excited because Sabas, at the moment, he's 8 years old, and it's time for him now to leave the group. And so, as we heard that Hsiao-Ning is coming, we were very happy because we think it will be very fine when they are together here in this new house.
The keepers in Rostock are eager to get a look at the new arrivals. After 17 hours in the van, Hsiao-Ning's ready to stretch her legs. To everyone's relief, she's been remarkably content throughout the journey.
She's very, very calm. She's just very confused, but to be honest, I was expecting her to be really nervous and anxious and maybe angry, but she's not. She's just very confused.
They need to get both girls out of their crates and into a bedroom as quickly as possible. They've never shared the same space before, so their introduction will have to be handled carefully. Whilst the team puts Hsiao-Ning into a bedroom, her prospective mate Sabas is kept at the other end of the building with his family. He has no idea that tomorrow he'll be coming face to face with two beautiful young ladies.
It's all safe. We don't want to let her out and she just walks past here. Okie dokes, all right, if we push to the door now.
There's every chance Hsiao-Ning will be very angry at being cooped up for so long, so they're doing all they can to keep her calm.
Lewis opens the door, I'll go and say hello to her as she comes through. You ready? Yeah, go for it.
Hsiao-Ning makes her way in very cautiously.
Hello, gorgeous. Hello, sweetheart. Come on, sweetheart.
She's just watching.
The thinking monkey, that one. She's got all this lot weighed up.
Jeremy has known Hsiao-Ning since she was born at Monkey World in 2003. Unfortunately, she was rejected by her mother, Roro, and was hand-reared by primate care staff until she graduated into the orangutan nursery. Jeremy followed her progress as she matured and made friends. But when she reached adolescence and the staff tried to integrate her into an adult group, she just didn't want to know. They'd hoped she would take a liking to dominant male Gordon, but she refused to let him anywhere near her. And she's gained herself quite a reputation.
Hsiao-Ning's a bit of a special individual, if you like. Now, you can never prove or know or tell whether that's because of the way she was brought up or the way she is. I mean, maybe Hsiao-Ning would have been exactly the same as she is now had she been mother-reared. Perhaps not. I think you could possibly class her as being like a spoilt brat. If I don't get my own way, then we're not doing it at all, and I'll thweem till I'm sick, which she used to be a lot worse at. The introductions we've done at Monkey World with her and stuff, she's had real temper tantrums. You don't pander to that.
But a year has passed since then, and now she's getting another chance.
I don't believe I know she is 100% better.
So far, Hsiao-Ning's behaving herself, but now they need to entice her into the neighbouring bedroom so that Miri, still waiting outside, can come into this one. They both need to settle in before meeting up.
Hsiao-Ning, baby, are you coming?
Lewis is optimistic, but Jeremy's learned a thing or two over the years. He knows how to get Hsiao-Ning to play ball.
If you shut me in, lock, yeah? Come on. Come on.
She's not giving in easily.
Will be. Come here.
Since he can't beat her, he joins her.
Come on, good girl. Go down. Good girl. Here's a good girl.
Finally, she moves through. And Miri can be shown to her new home. Hsiao-Ning's finding her feet, and she's determined to give her travelling companion a welcome she won't forget in a hurry. She can't get back through the door, but she's making her presence felt. Not sure what's awaiting her, Miri is very wary.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hsiao-Ning's on the warpath. And the German team are very cautious about putting the two young ladies in the same room. But Jeremy can see the advantage of neutral ground.
As soon as somebody's decided that's their territory, then we're going backwards. But nobody's got a territory now, so everybody's looking for a friend So it's the best time to do it right now, this minute.
Miri's keeper Tanya's not so sure. Miri may be acting coy, but she's no shrinking violet normally.
Naughty, likes to get her own way. Now she does temper tantrums. I'm hoping she's going to be a good girl now.
When the slide is opened, Miri very slowly enters Hsiao-Ning's domain. She wants to get to know her raucous roommate. It looks promising, but Hsiao-Ning takes up the dominant position at the outset. She's determined to assert herself. Miri's taken refuge on high.
She's covered herself up because she's upset and she's tried to make friends and Ning just wasn't having it. So now she's gone to sulk. She could sulk all day, all night, tomorrow, who knows?
The two girls will be left overnight to get used to each other, and tomorrow they'll meet the third member of their new family, Sabas. Back at Monkey World, they're preparing for an exciting day at the Bachelor pavilions. For the last 6 weeks, the boys have had to vacate their playroom, ever since Sammy and the others started picking at the walls. The builders were brought in to carry out renovations and replace benches and shelves. The lads have had 24-hour access to their bedrooms in the big outside enclosure, but they've missed their playroom. Now the primate care staff are adding the finishing touches to make the reintroduction to it go smoothly. Outside in their brand new tunnel, the chimps can't contain their enthusiasm, especially fat Sammy, who knows there'll be some food going. High ranker Butch is among the first in. Ben is quick to show how big and strong he is.
They can be very noisy, the bachelors. But obviously, once they're excited, they start each other off, and it goes to levels where you cannot even think. It's so loud. I think just the extra space and the comfort that Pavilion provides is, really obvious today.
After the first flush of delight, they spot the food.
We have put in a nice amount of everything so that everyone's got everything. We put some jelly balls, some yoghurt balls, we put in some peanuts, pellet, their veg diet, some fruit, lots of exciting things, but enough to spread around.
Even the low rankers have had a chance to get their share and enjoy being back in familiar territory.
It's a huge relief to have them back in so that we can get them in at night again, so that we know that when we leave that they are all nesting in the warm and that they're all safe and secure. Hopefully now having the extra room and everyone relaxing and back to their normal routine, then we'll see them all back to their normal selves.
At the Capuchin Lodge, Jenny's preparing the enclosure before Amy's group are allowed out into the trees. It'll be the first chance they've had to explore their new territory since yesterday's major house moves, and Jenny is making sure the boundaries are secure.
Very important that I check the fence properly and make sure that there's nothing that could cause an escape. Also, with all these lovely big trees, to make sure that there's not a jumping distance that a capuchin could actually get out on.
They think the active girls will really enjoy the extra room.
There's about 16 of them, and there's quite a lot of youngsters who we think will benefit from this nice wide open space and being able to sort of bounce around on the trees. We've also got quite a lot of girls that actually came from the wild as well, so it'll be a good mix of young and old, really. There's loads of lovely grass that they can forage around, and more worried about getting them in at the end of the day than anything else, really.
While the team are preparing the large enclosure for the girls, just behind the lodge, the geriatric boys are already out and about in the sunshine, getting to know their outside space. Today, they're getting their daily dose of vitamin C in juicy rose hips.
They eat pretty much anything they can get their hands on, so we do try and vary regularly what we give them in terms of fruit and vegetables. We plan their diet sort of days ahead so that they're not getting the same food every day, and then we vary the carbohydrates and the proteins that they get, and then there's sort of enrichment as well that we give.
But their interest in breakfast can't hold a pin to the girls' wild excitement as they spot those trees. Zoe hasn't been able to tree climb for over 20 years since she was stolen from the wild and kept in a laboratory, but she hasn't forgotten how it's done. In the blink of an eye, some are 60 feet high. Though getting down might be a different matter.
You know, they do problem solve quite quickly and find a way of getting down again. They're quite agile, so even if they sort of do have a little bit of a slip, they can generally recover and carry on without there being any problems. So I'm not worried about anyone, you know, coming to harm out there.
Boss lady Amy's eager to show the way.
Amy's a very friendly capuchin. She sort of rules more by presence than anything else. You don't often see her really telling anyone off unless they've really pushed the boundaries on her. Being dominant female, all the others seem to really look up to her and adore her. So, you know, she's very sort of cool and collected and confident and just goes about her business.
Less adventurous Lucy finds plenty to discover within her comfort zone.
To see them actually exploring and having such a good time, it has made a real sort of joy and a positive thing for us to think, you know, that they went through that slightly stressful time yesterday of moving up here. It's all been worthwhile for them. So, I couldn't have predicted them behaving this well and enjoying it as much as they are.
It's feeding time at Rostock Zoo. Hsiao-Ning and Miri have spent their first night together since arriving from the UK, and the keepers are anxious to see if they've survived unscathed. Hsiao-Ning's aggression seems to have faded.
When we came in the morning, everything was okay. They were both sleeping, not together, but everything was okay. They were calm. They feel better. You know, when you have something to eat, it's everything better. I think in some days they are friends and it's okay. I hope so.
This is outdoor enclosure and indoor enclosure. We're going.
With their charges in good hands, Jeremy, Lewis and Tanya are also up early. Curator Antje Zimmerman is showing them round the great ape enclosures. Hsiao-Ning and Miri's new home has every mod con. They've even recreated the humid conditions of the tropical forests that these apes originate from.
The total is around about 3,800 square meters.
Okay. The gorillas have already made themselves at home.
Good boy. No, don't stand too close, okay?
So far, just the gorillas have moved in. The race is on to get the orang enclosures completed.
Can't wait to see the outside now.
The outside enclosure will be an island surrounded by a moat with lots of natural trees, a wonderful forest home for the orangutans. Hsiao-Ning will be living in the lap of luxury, but all that depends on her being able to get along with a certain young man. This morning, Sabas has been separated from his family and moved closer to Hsiao-Ning and Miri in preparation for their introductions. Daniela is doing all she can to make things go smoothly.
I make some toys for the apes because in some hours we want to bring Miri, Sabas and Hsiao-Ning together. And so there's something indicates if there should be some aggression. I don't think so. There are some things to distract them. At any time you can scatter some food. This is always a good thing.
Sabas has already made a good impression on Jeremy.
He's a very good-looking lad, isn't he? And I'm sure he'll be fine. He's about the ideal match, size and age and everything else, and we just got to let it happen and see how they go. It's down to them now.
This is a great opportunity for Hsiao-Ning to be in her own adult group with Sabas and Miri, but they've still to find out if she's going to make the most of it. First things first, Sabas is encouraged into the neighbouring room to the girls.
That was good. That was good.
Here he can look, but not touch. As soon as Hsiao-Ning realises he's next door, she's up to her old tricks. He's not about to get any come-ons. Sabas isn't sure if he wants to face this angry ape. He's never been away from his mum before. It's fresh territory for all three of them, and Sabas wants to stake his claim.
They're all learning each other, and the first thing you wanted, everybody wants to be in charge. You know, because this is, you've got to start as you mean to carry on. If you're in my life, you've got to realise, little girl.
They decide to push ahead and let the three apes into the same room. Hsiao-Ning wastes no time in exerting her authority. It's a far cry from her first meeting with Gordon, when she just ran away. Miri's keeping well out of her line of fire. But Sabas has no intention of being ruled by this female. Miri decides she's been on the shelf for long enough and ventures into the battlefield. Sabas comes to say hello, but Hsiao-Ning's having none of that budding relationship. At last, Tanya has something to smile about.
I'm very proud of her now she's come out of a blanket. I was a bit like, what is she doing? But now she's come out of a blanket and she's done exactly what she should do. Yes, I can hold my head up now and think, yes, she's done it.
I think Miri's probably got more to give than Hsiao-Ning. I don't think Hsiao-Ning's got anything to give, whereas Miri, I think Miri will work it out. You're a good girl, aren't you?
All Miri gets for her efforts is a good slap, but her steady approach has caught a certain someone's eye.
Yeah, she's just slow but sure wins the race. And that's typical orang. Slow but sure wins the race. And Miri was there, oh, just watch this for a while and see how it goes. And now, while Hsiao-Ning's embarrassed herself, Miri thinks, oh, come and have a look at me. I'm not such a bad chap. I'm a nice person.
Hsiao-Ning's furious she's no longer the centre of attention. One thing's for sure, Sabas is going to have his hands full with these two.
Who knows? He might say, I don't like either of you, or whatever. At the moment, he just wants his mum. He's a good boy. He's behaving very well, actually.
Next time on Monkey Life, orangutan Gordon tries to come to terms with his grown-up body.
Right now, we're still having a bit of a problem with the ladies realizing Gordon's inner beauty.
And Jeremy and Lewis bid farewell to Hsiao-Ning.
This whole exercise couldn't have gone better. That's the time to quit. Run away. Quit while you're ahead.